Hello and welcome to SEO 101 on WMR.FM, episode number 478. This is Ross Dunn, CEO of Stepforth Web Marketing, and my co-host is my company's senior SEO, Scott Van Ack. All right, we got a big show today, so let's just jump right into it. What's first on our agenda?
Yeah, so we're going to talk briefly about WordPress, and guess what? It is not a hack that you have to worry about. It seems like that's all we talk about, but this one I kind of caught my eye a little bit. I don't usually talk about new plugins or anything. I have not played with this plugin yet, so I really don't know if it's any good, but it's called Progress Planner, and it's by some co-founders from Yoast, and Yoast is awesome, so maybe this plugin is awesome. I don't have a lot of details on it yet. Roger Monti had just posted about it, I don't know, maybe an hour or so ago before this. So we haven't really dug super deep into it, but apparently it will help you in a lot of ways. So it helps plan tasks. It helps defeat procrastination. I'd love to see how that works.
Sign me up.
Yeah, no kidding. That's right there. Hopefully real life, not just business life. And it helps remove distractions. So what that exactly means is I'm not totally sure, but it sounds good. It also simplifies managing critical tasks like maintaining website health, publishing posts, and updating content. So because I haven't played with it, I'm speculating, but I'm guessing it's just like a reminder system with pop-ups that say, don't forget to publish this post, or don't forget you got to work on this. I don't really know. Might be cool. It's currently in beta, fully functional, and the official launch is slated for October 3rd, 2024. Currently, it is free, and they are planning a pro version in the future. So, it's, what would I say? It was called Progress Planner. Maybe take a look next time you're bored, and I will do the same. I want to check it out and see what it's all about, but who knows?
Yeah, the tough thing with those things is they either are too heavy-handed. They try to tell you, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. And I don't know about you, but as soon as they do that, I'm like, screw you. I'm going to do it. Or they're just too soft or they're annoying. So I don't know. I'm not sure if there's a way to win, but good luck. I hope they kick ass here and make it work.
I think for some people it'll be good, but as anything, it's like, even if we look at regular Yoast, the green light, yellow light, red light thing for a page, clients are always asking, well, this page isn't green. Why is it not green? It's like, well, because for whatever reason, the builder you're using, Yoast can't see any of the content on the page, and it thinks you have 0 words in your post. So it's going to give you a red light forever because it's an empty post. Like, I'm always finding little reasons like that why these, not just Yoast, but various plugins don't work, because they don't get the full picture always. So who knows? Maybe this will be a win, maybe not. We'll see.
It always makes me think of this person. Now, we all are, anyone with a small business knows that you end up having, how shall we say, challenging clients occasionally. I'll never forget with one lady who was very upset with us and fired us because Yoast was not giving green across the work we were doing. We're like, well, it's a fantastic little tool that's we use aspects of to help with our work, but we don't actually use the SEO component. It's not our focus because it's a generalized SEO tool. We're experts. We do it by hand and make sure it works the way we know it'll work. Anyway, it didn't matter. Nope. Just there was no making her happy. And it will always run into that type, but it is frustrating.
It's a great system for people that are just trying to figure stuff out. But if you know what you're doing, it's not really necessary most of the time.
No. Anyways, just an interesting aside there. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. Anywho, let's jump into some SEO news here. Google search adds Internet Archive's Wayback Machine links to about this page. So tell me about this. I haven't seen this yet.
So first of all, what is about this page? A lot of you probably know, but probably a lot of you don't. So when you do any kind of search in Google, beside, currently at least, to the right of the URL, there's a little ellipsis, so 3 vertical dots. Click on that, and Google has sort of this little pop-up thing that slides out and tells you more information about the page. It'll tell you various data about it, links to share it, all kinds of stuff, kind of depending on what the page is. So they've got a new link there now, and it links to that page's history within Wayback Machine. And I guess if you don't know what Wayback Machine is it's a snapshot of how your page has looked over the years. Some sites you may have updates in there every day for 10 years, or you might have one update 7 years ago. I don't know Wayback Machine's crawl schedule and why some sites are so heavily indexed in there more than others. But
It's a
it's just
real
kind of
trip,
cool.
though. It's something you really want to check out if you haven't looked at it before and look back at some of the sites you knew back in the day. It's
Or, or even your
wow.
own. Don't look at stepforth.com, but I'm going to, because now I'm curious, what did it look like 20 years ago? I forget now. Like I kind of remember. Probably
Uh,
looked terrible, but maybe we want to go back to it. Um, so
and it's on archive.org is where you would go for the Wayback Machine if you wanted to go directly there.
yes, exactly. So that's cool. Google had stated, I can't remember what this quote is, but I'm going to read it because I put it here. We know that many people, including those in the research community, value being able to see previous versions of web pages when available. That's why we've added links to the Internet Archive Wayback Machine in our About This Page feature to give people quick context and make this helpful information easily accessible through search. So it'll be useful, maybe. I don't know. We're going to see.
Okay. Well, I love the idea. It's whether or not people will like what they see is another thing entirely. And there has been issues in the past with content that's been, well, stuff that shouldn't have been saved being saved there too. So that might draw more issues for the Wayback Machine, but let's hope not, because I
There
think
is
what they do is a valuable, it's very valuable.
I don't know if we spoke about it or maybe we had a client or I can't remember the situation, but I feel like there was a recent, like recent being in the past couple of years, someone who had a bunch of stuff in Wayback Machine that they had to get removed, and maybe we helped them do it or we talked about it or something. There's got to be a way to get yourself removed from Wayback Machine though, if you want to.
Oh, there. I'm sure there
So
is. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so look it up if you don't like being in there.
Just keep in mind, it is an archive. It's like the library of the internet. It's the history of the internet. I mean, so I don't know. I'm looking at one of my old websites, and it's most of the images are gone. I just see the text because it was so old back in '97. But it's still interesting to see, and wow, blasts from the
That
past.
that
I don't
bad,
even
eh?
have SEO there because SEO hadn't it didn't exist as a term. It was promotion, website marketing and promotion is what I had there. Uh, it's
Times have
wild to think
changed.
that SEO didn't exist, doesn't it? At least it didn't in my, it wasn't on my radar yet.
Yeah.
It was what I did was promotion and marketing. It wasn't SEO, which is still the stupidest term ever. I do not optimize search engines. But anyways,
It's a flashback. I remember when you hired me, like, I don't even know, 20 some years ago. I think one of the questions you asked me was, what do you know about SEO or something? I was like, huh? Like, I don't think I had an answer for you. I didn't know what you're talking about. So
yeah,
th
yeah, no doubt.
thankfully I'm employed though. So it worked out.
Yes, yes, yes. I liked training people from the ground up at that point.
Yeah,
Don't have the time now, but back then it was great. Well, there was no other option really.
it's true.
All right. So another piece here, Google search supports ineligible region properties for videos. Oh, that made a little sense there. But anyways, the idea here is that when you put video into your website, your documentation of any kind that can be indexed, you can now put in a property within the background, within the embedding of the video, either in ISO format or another one which is regions allowed or regions. So there's a regions allowed and ineligible regions. So you can do either way. Ineligible means these countries cannot view this video. Regions allowed will allow you to specify only the countries that it will be allowed to see it, and the rest will be exempt. Nice that they did this. I kind of surprised. I mean, I don't do a lot of video stuff, so I didn't. I kind of just assumed that was already there, but I guess not.
Yeah. So the nice part though is if you don't care who sees your videos, you don't have to do anything. It's just
Right.
mostly if if you're American and you're Netflix and you don't want us Canadians watching all your cool shows, this is for you. Uh, although they have much more sophisticated ways to do that, of course, but
Yes, buggers.
maybe they don't like us.
All right, next up, Google AI overviews are now showing shopping results for commercial queries. Or I should say again. So what's this?
Yeah, Barry was like, I don't remember them going away, but I guess if Alita says they're back, they must have gone away for a while. Yeah, so what Alita said, Alita Solis wrote in X, she said, if you're a retailer, please double down on your product detail page optimization, their content, reviews, images, video, structured data, merchant feed, everything. So AI overviews is now showing, again, links to product pages and things like that. So, you know, it's great. Do that. Do what you can. That's some great advice from her to try to help increase your product exposure in AI overviews. But even without AI overviews, you should probably do that anyways. You're going to get some advantages there with organic search. So um, it's cool. It's just like a bit of a reminder on keeping up with your product pages.
Hmm. All right. All right. This
And
is a report. Half of Google AI overviews, half of Google AI overviews links overlap with top search results. And when I scanned this, and I only scanned this quickly, I believe you put this in here, I was little uncertain whether or not that meant that the content used in the AI overview is from sites that are also in organic rankings. Is that what it means?
yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, they're saying that. So I guess some background information. There were a little over 11,000 queries that they tested. Of those, about 20%, say 2,400 AI overviews appeared, and out of those 2,400, half of those links that were appeared as citations within the AI overview content were linking to content that was already ranking organically at the
Mm-hmm.
top of search results. I don't know what they mean by the top of results. Is it top 10, top 5? I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how deep they're going there, but it's kind of funny to me because it's not surprising Google would pull from those top results because clearly
No.
they're the most relevant. But at the same time, I feel like at one point, Google had talked about this being a way to bring other content to the forefront, give people more options and see more forms of content. But if they're just going to regurgitate the top 10 organic or whatever, do we need AI overviews? It's already there. They're just repeating. It's like they're summarizing the top 10 essentially. Well, I guess maybe that is kind of what they're doing in a way.
Well, and you got to remember it's all part and parcel to their experience where they're trying to make it so that you don't have to go to the websites.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they want you just to get the result and stick to Google and just keep churning away with all their paid results and yeah, all their money making. And they use the same content, I expect, for their voice responses as well. So yeah, it's a sad direction they're taking, but I guess it's been inevitable. Uh, yeah. Anyways, don't want to go down that
This
rabbit hole.
no, this might be a bad analogy because I haven't thought about it in advance, but wouldn't that be kind of like you open up the yellow pages and the phone number for every business is the phone number for the yellow pages, and then you call them and then they tell you the things you want to know, like you never actually get to the real business. It's
Yeah,
just,
in a
it's
way.
just it's just a search engine telling you how to find the search engine that you're already on. Um,
Okay. Well,
Never
let's
mind.
take, yeah, no worries, no worries. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I've got a very interesting concept that is helping local rankings.
SEO 101 will be back right after recess.
Welcome back to SEO 101 on WMR.FM, hosted by myself, Ross Dunn, CEO of Stepforth Web Marketing, and my company's senior SEO, Scott Van Ack. All right, so this is the local SEO news component, and this is very interesting to me. I saw this and kind of scratched my head. It just amazes me that this exists, but people will do anything to increase their rankings, and this is a good example. So don't do this, but there is a way, apparently, to influence your local rankings using directions or driving in the area. So let's get into the brass tacks here. So there are discussions I've seen lately about companies selling a service that will emulate driving in your local area and going to your location using Google. So they're using this to they check for directions and they drive to your location, or at least they're in the area when they do that. Google can tell where they are based on their location details in their phone. Another tip was to have your employees request driving directions to your business each day on their way to or their office. All right. Why is this helpful? Well, again, Google is always paying attention to locality. So, and this is about local. So if you're in the maps and you want to hear more in the map pack, these are ways to do it, but they are not safe. I want to say that Google's going to crack down on it soon, but we know that they suck with local SEO. So there's very much a possibility that you could benefit from this. Just know that it's against Google's guidelines severely and you can get in trouble. I just had to mention it because it's so wild. Uh, so if you have if you have your employees request driving directions each day on their way to work, it's potential, it potentially you'll see rankings improve for your local business in your area. It's mind-boggling that that's so simple.
It's so simple, and I get why it can work, but I also get how easy it would be to detect.
Yeah.
The same direction at 8 a.m. every day from point A to point B, repeated times, 300 days a year. Like, I don't know. It just
But
seems
conversely,
deadly.
how many other pieces of spam that Google is letting
Yeah.
people get away with in local is easy to detect? It's insane.
Yeah.
It's just a dumpster fire. So, and what really blew me away, I was telling Scott, is that I just don't think like this anymore. Back in the day when I was, you know, it was gray hat, black hat, whatever. We didn't care. We didn't even know there was a difference back when search engines started. Um, I guess I was in this field a little more, and I thought, whatever, what can I do to screw with Google? In that case, it wasn't Google, it was InfoSeek or whatever. But um, these guys there's actually companies selling this as a service now. They've found this and they've gone to the point. I mean, I know how much work's involved in getting a service to the point that you can sell it, never mind do outreach and sell it. It's mind boggling that that's already out there. And it just makes you wonder how many other tactics are being tested and we don't even know about. I don't know. It pays to be a white hat SEO like we are. I can tell you because we don't have to worry about all these little details. And if we do end up with a client who's being hammered by black hats, we try to take the upper road and either just show that the other guys are doing bad things and they really shouldn't be there because we need a fair playground here. Or we do some gray hat stuff if we have to. We've mentioned before that does happen. It's just this black hat stuff's mind boggling at times. It really is.
A service like this makes me wonder how incredibly lucrative it would have to be because it's going to be short-lived one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a forever
We
service.
hope.
So they've got, well, yeah. Okay, fair enough. How much yeah, okay. I guess a lot of black hat stuff lives on. It never actually really does.
Well, again, we're talking about Google Local here. I've got no faith in local for Google.
Well,
nothing gets fixed.
So does it work on Yelp? No.
All right. Google Maps is showing business photos on review sentiments. What's this? I haven't heard this.
Yeah, so this is kind of cool. I haven't seen this in the wild yet, but I'm sure we will. It's kind of cool. So one example that Barry posted, probably easier to explain with an example, is Outback Steakhouse. There was a review for Outback Steakhouse. The person that left the review was talking about their ribeye steaks. And then right above that review, Google was sourcing images from the business supplied images, not user supplied, of steaks from Outback Steakhouse. So you're seeing a visual of what the review is about when there's an image that exists related to the review. So I thought that's pretty cool. And if you're browsing through reviews, it's probably quite helpful for people. But my big takeaway here was that this just it's highlighting another very important reason to keep your business photos updated in Google Business Profile. Put photos of all your products or your menu items in this case, whatever you got, put photos. And if you see a bunch of reviews about something and you don't have photos about that, upload photos of that and hopefully it'll show up in the review and just get a bit of extra exposure. It's kind of cool.
Interesting. Another thought that occurred to me about that last black hat thing we were mentioning is that it's inevitable that by the time we hear about these things, or by the time it's actually posted publicly, it's been out for a long time. That's something that we should consider. That's mind blowing. How long has that been working before it got announced publicly? Because all the stuff ends up being run into the dirt before it's publicized, usually.
Oh yeah.
And by that point, it is about to be burned and not going to work anymore. That's typically how it works. Again, with Google Local, I cannot say that's probable. It's never seems to stop all the fake garbage.
You're going to be dreaming about this in your sleep tonight. This is like your whole day now.
Okay, well, let's jump into some Mueller files. We've got a couple here. The first one is, and I love this because we're always preaching about this, but John talks about when not to worry about traffic fluctuations. This is an article from Search Engine Journal. mentioning pretty much just espousing upon his comment in a Reddit. So a Reddit user has expressed anxiety about their website's performance. They're reporting fluctuations in both clicks and impressions. This caused some to worry that every spike or drop in numbers is a cause for alarm. This is overall Reddit users were starting to think, oh my God, this is a big issue. John had this to say. Here's a quote. As others mentioned, especially the clicks are just very small numbers. So any change by 1 or 2 will look like a big spike. There's a somewhat humorous way to look at this, and he links to a Wikipedia page, and this will be in the show notes, called The Strong Law of Small Numbers. And let's continue the quote now. There aren't enough small numbers to meet the many demands made of them. That's the quote from the Strong Law of Small Numbers. John says, quote, basically, you can't make a smooth graph if the individual steps are so big. You'll note this is much less visible in impressions, partially because you're looking at average values of 150-ish, where a handful more or less doesn't trigger a big spike. So the concept here is if you see a drop in ranking or a drop in clicks of 50%, that looks really alarming unless you realize it was just a drop of from 4 to 2.
Yeah.
Percentages are very, very difficult to work with because of that main issue. Unless you're very familiar with your site, that can really be alarming. In short, these are some of the takeaways that were posted on the article. Small traffic numbers can cause exaggerated fluctuations in graphs. Focus on long-term trends rather than daily changes, and don't panic over minor variations in website traffic, which is something we talk about often.
Yep.
Although we're usually talking about it in terms of major algorithmic updates, not to overreact to any changes. Okay. I thought that was a really good addition. I love that John mentioned it because I know a lot of people do obsess, and I can't bold that enough, obsess over rankings and changes and so on. All right, next up, Google says fixing headings won't change rankings. This is another Mueller file.
Yeah, another Mueller file direct from Reddit. I think John must live on Reddit lately. He's all of our content on John seems to come from Reddit now. So there was a question posted by a user by the name of Beginning Example. I'm hoping that's not the name his parents gave him or her, but rather a handle, which of course it is. And they posted, how harmful is having non-sequential header tags, like having a H4 title and H1 tags below, or having an H4, H3, H5, but no H2 tags? So John's response to this was, doing things properly, right order headings is a good practice. It helps search engines lightly to better understand your content. It's also good for accessibility. If you're setting up a new site or making significant changes on your templates or just bored, then why not take the extra 10 minutes and get this right? If you have an existing site, fixing this isn't going to change your site's rankings. I suspect you'll find much bigger value in terms of SEO by looking for ways to significantly up value your site overall. I do like how he doesn't flat out say won't help, period. He says it helps search engines lightly to better understand your content. Lightly. Okay, there's the keyword right there. But he also says later that it's not going to change your rankings. And I agree with that, and I disagree with it at the same time, because if those changes are helping Google to better understand your site, naturally it should be helping your site to rank. Don't those two things go hand in hand? But it's not. I mean, yeah, fixing your hierarchy of your heading tags is not likely to see any huge noticeable gains or anything, but it's just one of those little pieces of the puzzle. I think I thought of this analogy the other day. It's like if you take a sandbox and you take one scoop of sand out of it, you're not going to see anything happen in the sandbox. But if you have 100 of those scoops or 1,000 of those scoops, you're going to notice a difference. So it's just kind of like one of those little scoops of sand in your sandbox, I guess.
Yeah,
but
great. All right, well, we're going to go back to you again here. You have a great tip here using Excel formulas. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, so more AI stuff. So AI is one of those things that I absolutely hate and absolutely love it. And I keep coming, I've got a few things that I do fairly regularly with it. And then every now and then I'm like, well, why haven't I tried this? And this is something that happened to me, I think it was last week. And so I'll just tell you my story and it'll make sense.
Yeah,
So I
and
was,
just to
yes,
preface this is SEO because you were using this to help crunch data that we do on a regular basis, right?
exactly. So it is relevant. If you're doing SEO on your site, you're probably going to use Excel a lot to manipulate data. And this is where the AI came in handy for me. So it's all kind of merged together. So in short, I had a bunch of data in Excel. In this case, I had about 10,000 rows of individual keywords and then 3 separate columns that had rankings for those keywords at different date intervals for a client. So we could see how they ranked in month 1, month 2, and month 3. And what I wanted to do was add 2 more columns at the end that compared those rankings, month 1 versus the current month and month 2 versus the current month to see how things had changed and try to flag anything that had gone up or down. And the rankings were all exported from SEMrush. And so I started by putting some really basic formulas in there and it worked, but then every now and then it would come across maybe a certain keyword didn't rank in a certain month, and that just broke everything because now it was like comparing to nothing. So a ranking that is better looked worse and worse looked better. And so I started playing with the formula and it was a nightmare. I couldn't quite get it right. It was not where I wanted it. And then I remembered AI, like I always forget about AI. I should think about that first from now on. Went over to Chat GPT and wrote in just plain simple English exactly what I was trying to do. I gave it basically what I just said. Full details. What do I do? What's the formula? It spat out this big, ugly looking formula. I dumped that into Excel and it solved all my problems. So the lesson here is go straight to AI. Especially if you're dealing with code, it's so awesome with code. It just works. Yeah, it's not always good at content and idea development and stuff, but code, it's almost always perfect, at least in the little things like this. So
That's cool. Yeah, and I keep meaning to do a lot of that because I think it'll be fascinating to see just how much more I can do. But yeah, it's how much time do you have in the day, right?
yeah, I think this saved me 10 to 15 minutes. Like I would have gotten there on my own because I know Excel well enough, but 10 to 15 minutes is 10 to 15 minutes, and that adds up in a hurry. It gives me 10 minutes to ditch work early.
It is, but the other thing that people don't take into account, and this is really important, my coach, Chris Ward, tells me this a lot. It saves you mental energy, which you
Yeah.
cannot put enough emphasis on because we only have so much in a day. And
Yeah.
the more you waste, essentially, the less you'll have to apply to your next task, which could be more important or more technical. You never know. So I really find a lot of value in that. Okay, well, on behalf of myself, Ross Dunn, CEO of Stepforth Web Marketing, and my company senior SEO, Scott Van Ack, thank you for joining us today. Remember, we have a show notes newsletter you can sign up for at SEO101radio.com, where you'll get all of our links mentioned from the show and the notes as well from the discussions. Have a great week, and remember to tune into future episodes, which air every week on WMR.FM.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for listening.